Welcome back, this is Nerd Dad on episode 17 of our Factorio playthrough. Last time we left off, we just got our explosives set up, and this time we're going to start working on, I don't know, maybe some sulfuric acid. Yes, we've got everything we need except for a iron train and the ability to do other things. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up the depot for it, but we're going to wait until we get a couple other things laid out before we actually get the sulfuric acid built here. So we're just going to kind of set it in place, and then we're going to kind of walk away from it. So what I want to do here is we're just going to grab this station that was in here, and we're going to just blueprint this nice little chunk of track. Whoops, not even that much. We just want this little, nope, not even that much. Not even that much. No, what we want is just this piece of track, just like this, and we could probably take, actually, man, talk about not being able to piece you want. My issue is that I want that, but I don't want all those. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one side of it, kind of like this. And that's what we're going to grab for right now. So, if we were to put this right there, I think we can fit the rest of what I want to do in here. And it's a think. It's not a for sure. So if we had a track here, what we would want is we'd want, oh, we don't have any engines. Do they in the car? Do we have engines on the car? Yes, we do. Fantastic. So we'll grab a couple of pumps. Not pump jacks, but pumps. And they would be right across from here, so they'll be about here. Nope, not side by side, please. They like to fight if you put them side by side. You need to separate them. That's not true. Okay, so now we got these pumps sitting in there. And what I want to do with them is I want to just get myself a bit of a visualization here. Kind of that and that. And then what we would want is we would want a tank, and that's what we would measure our fuel in, so we know how much we want to send into our station. And this is basically what this should look like. So now we can take a template of this once we actually build one little tiny wafer-thin piece of rail right here. We just need to kind of get this in place so we can do this. Come on. I just built someone. Yeah, great dummy. Okay, now we should have what we need in place. Everything else should be perfect. Yeah, that should be good enough for right now. So let's grab that, and we'll grab it from there now. And there's our second template we want for this oil depot. Okay, so now we've got this set up, and yeah, it's not going to really do much else than sit there and look pretty for a little bit for us. Okay, so now we're going to come down here. We're going to grab the one that we want for plastics. And we're going to do something really similar. We're just going to kind of look for which one we want. Actually, we can get rid of this one now. Ooh, or do I want to keep that? We're going to keep that one just for a bit. We might need that one down the other end. That, however, we can get rid of now. That one, you're dead to us, sir. And where is the one we're looking for? Oh, we just made it. Why am I not seeing it? If we don't have it, we'll go make it. There it is. Alright, so this one, you can see it's kind of bouncing around, so that's about as good as it's going to get for us. So we'll put that one right in there. We still haven't gained any space. I was hoping to have gained a little bit of space. Honestly, we could gain the space by building this manually. Well, actually, no, we can't because it's the rail that's pulling it. I was going to say we might be able to make that automatic, but we're not going to. Okay, so now what we've got is we know this is going to be the plastics, and what we want to do now is just kind of finish a couple of things off here real quickly. We're just going to grab this nice double line here. Here it is. And we're just going to slam that right down the end there where it can go as far as it can go. And then we're going to grab this piece and put it here. And can we get one more in there? Not sure if we're going to go that far, but there we go. We've got it there if we need it. And then we'll grab our curve. And this one's going to go all over the place because it's going to basically go from there to there. It's going to go from there to there. And who knows, maybe we'll go it the other way at some point. We don't know. So we're just going to let it do all sorts of things. And we're going to do something very similar to this one here. Actually, we're not going to do this one because we're going to wait this one out. This guy's going to go away as well. And we'll likely pull these out now as well. Now that we've got a bit of a feel for what's going on. We should be able to grab our oil and just put it up here as nice as close as we can without getting red. Move it back into place. There it goes. And we can mark this one in as well. So we're getting our whole sort of oil facility eyeballed here a little bit. And we just need that one on that side, and that side, and there. Okay, and now what we got to do is we got to start thinking about, okay, so if this one is our explosives, and this one's our sulfuric gas, and this one's our plastics, and this one's our lubricant, where are we going to bring the oil into? Maybe here. So we're going to need probably another one of these oil and gas right here to bring oil in, if I can find it. Where'd it go? Just saw it. And we're going to bring it in and drop it right there. Do the same thing again. It's just more of the same over and over again. We just keep getting it there. But now what we're doing is you can actually start to visualize what we're going to have going forward. It's going to be quite the big thing. That's what she said. So then we go and actually let's just get this other piece laid out up here. Let's just do this one. May as well get all of them filled in. And the beauty of this is if we don't build stuff, we don't need them right now. The bots will come and do them for us later. So it just kind of all flings together when we bring a bot in here. That can be bad sometimes too, because you come in and you're trying to do something else and all of a sudden the bots run off and do a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we've got those all set up. We're going to probably have some uranium coming in and stuff, but it's likely going to be way down here, hence why we wanted this track to be so far. But what we don't have right now is the ability to bring in that iron ore. And what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll bring that iron ore in here. We have the space up top here to ship it along here. We could also ship it along the top of here, but I think we'd kind of like to do it right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to blast out some cliffs here. We should have lots of cliff explosives. I've been kind of busy making lots of it. And we're going to put it probably in something equal with this line right here. So let's just knock all this out of here. Let's destroy some trees. You go away. Just kind of mouse over everything until the machine gun takes care of it all. And I think, actually we'll probably take that out. That should be close enough. So what we're going to do again is we're just going to grab our curve, make sure we're at the switch, not past it, and drop our line in, and we'll just do the same thing. Oh, which was going on there? Why will you not do that? You are seeing something I'm not seeing. What do you got? What do you got? I think it's catching that box right there. It doesn't like something. Oh, the power pole. Alright, we can make that disappear. I was like, just didn't see it, and I couldn't figure out why it was having so much trouble. So we'll just move this power pole back here, and that's okay. We can accept that, and it should be just fine. Dum, dum. Okay, we're going to want one there. Yes, I know it looks like a mess in here, but honestly, we don't care how messy this is, because this is going to be its own block all the way through here, and trains will just wait here to go in and out, and then they'll come in and they'll go. So it becomes, you know, the only thing you might get is a bit of a hold up out on these tracks, which is why we want the guns being able to protect them. Okay, so now we know on this side we want an offloader, so we're going to kind of copy this, but then we're going to flip it all around on its head a little bit. So we're just going to grab that, but actually it's going to be backwards. So let's grab, oh, did we delete the one track one? Did we delete the one track mind already? No, we didn't. Aren't we smart? Okay, it's a little bit too long. Ooh, no, don't, shh, stop. You guys. We'll just do this instead. And okay, we'll just, whoops, gonna have to drop a bit of coal on the ground because maybe we can make grenades or something. Can we make some 5 grenades and then we can pick up this coal? Don't like leaving stuff on the ground. I got this thing against it. I don't know what it is. It's just pack rat. I don't know. Okay, there we go. So that'll now fit in there nicely. And in fact, this one's going to have its own coal. I think what we'll do is, you know what? I can't resist it. It's just, it feels so natural that we'll just have to kind of run this in here like this. It's kind of like, okay, well, if you're going to have coal sitting right there, why not feed the train? Of course, dumb me. That's not the side it's going to be on. It's going to be on the other side. So, whoops, dumb me. We're going to clean that off, and now that we've got the track length, we'll just kind of do this. Stop it. If you're wondering why I do that, it's because when you start here, you can't get that last piece, so you kind of got to fill it in before you do this piece. Okay, let's just kind of get this in place. There is that one. And I'll just knock this ahead one. Don't be like that. Okay. And we got one more here. Okay, so that one's all laid out. It's all ready to go. And it's going to need a... It's got an in and it's going to have an out. Talked about those last time. And we're going to want a train station down this end. And this guy's going to be our sulfur plate drop. And we're going to just leave him there like that. Why don't we make him a nice bright yellow? That's not yellow. That's yellow. And what we're going to do is we're going to now figure out where our offboarding is. Kind of like this real quick. And drop some boxes. Now let's make some more boxes. We're going to need some more of those. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we can do this a couple ways, but this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to do this, and then what we're going to do is send the right side. So if the arms always offload onto the right side, what you do is you take the second one to the left, and it'll feed the left side of the belt. Now you got your two belts merged. And then what you can do is you can bring these two together, whoops, and you can meld them into one belt, and there you go. And we know, and we're going to check using our map, that we want to be down one extra line. Right here is where we want to build this from. So we're going to do this right from here. And hopefully, luckily for us, we can actually just fit through that little gap. If we'd been up in here, we'd have been in real trouble. So got lucky there. And we're going to need to jump this. It would almost been easier just to have moved that radar dish at this point. And we're going to jump over here. And just keep going. Just keep moving. And we'll just finish this off along here like this. And we're going to need a little bit of extra space. So I'm going to leave ourselves a gap so we can jump across. And actually, we're right where we want to be. Alright, we're going to get out here and start working on the rail line a little bit. Why am I going in circles? I don't know, because I don't know where I'm going. Okay, so here we are. We're out and about. Into the boot. And let's follow this to the end as far as we can go. And that's as far as we can go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start just blasting some cliffs along here. And we'll take care of this as we go. Where is my rail line? And all we got to do is just keep laying them over top of each other. Just keep moving forward and working her down for as long as we can. Now we could do it by map mode, but the issue is that as soon as we got to one of these cliffs, we'd have to drive ahead and blow it out. So it's almost easier to do it as you're running it. It's kind of almost a mix. You kind of get a 50-50. Whoops, got a little bit of cliff there we're going to have to knock out. And I think we're going to just squeeze by that other big cliff there, which is great. I mean, we can do it by this way. We can basically just sit here and say, you know what, we're going to just take a big X and go like this and just go. I don't know how far we need to go, but sure, let's go right through all there. And then we can just actually just lay down as much rail as we can put in. And we go, whoops. And make sure we're laying on top. And it's got a red zone there, which means it's going to bump into a cliff. So eventually you hit a cliff and you have to kind of drive ahead to catch up to it. So whichever way you prefer, you can do it both ways. Now, one thing I often do, if I do it this way, I just want to kind of clean up these trees. Because we're not going to be able to build this rail unless it's gone anyways. And if we had robots, that'd be great, but we're not going to have those before we get all the plastics and things to do this. So we're at the mercy of sort of manual labor at the moment. Now we could pitch a grenade in there. Grenade out! So there's other ways to do it. So whichever you prefer. Grenades can be a little bit faster. See how close we got with this. There we go. Let's bring this back here. A few bugs coming up on us. Oh, fine. Get down to the wall and play them. Bye-bye. Oh, they're all sitting in here in the trees. Alright, there we go. We, I'll return you to your regular program. Why can't I not back up? It's not that hard. Okay. Switch. Just keep moving this forward. And stop. And yeah, it's been a while, eh? I mean, this is quite the long length of rail we're going to run. Now, one thing we could be doing to this is we could be adding some switches on the way. And by that I mean just because you don't want basically this to be one all block, otherwise the train's got to go down the whole length before another one could come out, so you're basically holding up all your trains. But for right now we'll do it, and then we'll kind of put those in a little bit. It's one of those, we'll add to it later. We don't even have a single train on it yet, so it's not really worth worrying about. But we could put you can put them in signals. So what I've done in the past, if I'm going across a big open desert, I might make 3 of these and put a signal block every third one or something. It's another way of taking care of it. Okay, so we're coming up to a wall here, and that was intended by design. Actually, we've got some tech to learn. Oh, not that. Actually, it's getting bots. Let's start getting flight. Okay, so while we were offline, what we did is actually we came down here really quickly, and we took out that huge chunk of land we said we were going to take out. So that's why we're actually bumping a wall, is because we've actually built out a little bit of a wall so we can start building this train yard that we want to build here. Figured nobody really wanted to watch me just walk around in a circle and build a wall, so let's just take that and get it out of our way. And let's just get that out of there. And now we can finish this up. Oh. Alright. And we're going to have to blow all this cliff out here as well. I wasn't sure where the cliffs were going to be exactly. So we're going to need to just do a little bit of doctoring in here. Kind of take out the walls. I wasn't sure what would be where. So let's take out these guns here. And we'll eyeball it a little bit here. We'll say, you know what, we can probably put a power line there and one on this side, and they'll probably just not quite jump it. I think that one's in the middle, dead center, so I think we're going to have to figure something out here in a sec. Let's just lay this out for a sec. We'll just bring in a couple tracks. That'll tell us where we're going to be exactly. There we go. Now we don't have to eyeball so much. Okay, so we're going to need one power pole in the middle there. We're going to need to jump the track, something like this. There we go. And now we can actually blow up this whole cliff face would be great. I missed a piece, but that's okay because I don't think we care about the piece. Okay, now we can lay out our piece of track coming in here. Now let's go back to our last power pole. And we will just keep kind of moving forward here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get into this zone here, and unfortunately it got dark on us just as we went to go do a massive layout. What I like to do sometimes, if I'm going into a big area, if I just do this, especially if I'm picking pieces up, I can see all the pieces. It's a little bit easier if there's like stone or something. It defines which stone I need, which ones I don't. Okay, and now we've got to figure out what we're going to actually do with this. So I want to actually run this track all the way through because this is... Oh, what did we do there? We bumped the track a little bit, so we're going to have to redo that one. This track shouldn't be part of anything. It should just be its own thing that kind of runs all the way through, and it'll go off somewhere else. It'll one day disappear. Hey, we got a big, huge cliff out here. Let's get rid of this. Who knows where it's going to go? One day it might lead to, I don't know. Maybe it'll go to Disneyland. Who knows? We know it'll head out this way somewhere, and maybe it'll one day pick up this copper ore for us. Who knows? We're not worried about it. What we are worried about is what are we going to do in this area here. So this is the great big area that we're looking for. This is the area you were looking for. And so we're going to blow all these cliffs out of here. And we'll try to do it as economically as we can. I think we're going to need all of this gone. We got lucky with that one. And we're going to leave a little bit of this because I'm not sure how far down we need to come yet, but I want to make sure that we've got lots of explosives. So far, so good. And we likely don't need to go any further that way because we're not going to go in behind there. And let's take that out. X marks the shooting spots. Okay, so now what we got to do is we got to start thinking about what is it we're building down here. Well, we know we need to bring in all sorts of materials here. So let's think about what we're looking at. Okay, we know we're going to need some sulfuric acid for our batteries. We know we need plastic for our red circuits. We know we need, well, what else do we need? We know we're going to need lubricant for our electric engines. We know we're going to, yeah, it's like every sentence starts with, you know we're going to need, we're likely one day going to need some uranium-238, which we're going to bring into our military zone. And if our military is here, this might be one thing that, who knows, maybe we will ship in from a different direction. Maybe it'll go from the south. Not quite sure what we're doing with the 238 at the moment, and that car's about to get eaten. So hopefully it's got good enough defense because, oh, good they didn't see it. We're not sure where we're going to bring it in, but theoretically we might want to bring it in into this zone here. What we don't want to do is build our train tracks way down into this zone here. So we want to kind of start thinking about, okay, where is it we're going to be building all this, and how big would it be? Well, we know we're probably not going to want to build anything south of this elbow. When we go over this elbow here, whoops, wrong way, map. When we look at our elbow, we've basically got this whole building area, we got this building area, and if we wanted to build a third one, it would be on top. That top one is likely, well, actually, maybe we do want that top one. Yeah, we're going to say that that top is plausible. So what we'll do is we'll say, I got to think about it. And here's what I'm pondering. I'm thinking right now, if we have reds, they look kind of like the greens. So let's go over and eyeball these greens. You see how we've got these two banks? Well, we're going to want two banks of those plus the reds. So it's going to be a great large thing that's going to take up a huge chunk of space. Well, that's going to be off the bus, so we're going to be at least too high there anyways. We could run the plastic right off the end of those, but then it limits if we want to put anything on top, and I'm just debating whether we want to do that or whether we just let this natural elbow become our thing. And my gut's telling me go with the road. Get the road to be what we can be as long as we can fit it all in. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what we can fit in here, and that might dictate as best we can do it. So I think that's what we're going to go with. It's difficult sometimes to make the call because you're kind of, well, once I get this in here, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to ever fix it because it's going to be too big to tear out. I mean, you can always tear it over lots and stuff, but just seems daunting sometimes. Okay, what is this going to look like? Well, I don't know. What we know we need, first of all, is the ability to store a bunch of trains coming in. We don't want them just coming in and parking in a stall because who knows, maybe we'll have 3 plastic trains coming in. Maybe we'll have a couple of sulfuric gas. We don't know. It's the plastics I'm mainly worried about. Those are the ones that sometimes you want to back up 1 or 2, especially if you get the reds really, the red circuits really going. Why am I chopping trees? Okay, so let's take a quick look and figure out what we're going to do here. I want the ability to have a train track. We're going to do 1 track, and it's going to be both an in and an out. Where's my flat guy? That guy right there. And we're going to want something like this. Let's just do this. Actually, let's go with that. Let's see if that works. It's going to be close. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to want something like this. This would be an in and out. And we're going to need to take that out of there. So we'll have to fix that. Okay, so we've got the train line coming in, but then what we're going to want, and kind of similar to what we went through before, is we got to kind of lay this track in here so we get a feel for where the switch would have to be. We're just kind of going to just lay a couple of curves in here. It's the near curves that we need to worry about, so we don't need to worry so much about the outside ones. So there we go. That's all we really needed. So we need to know that we can put a switch right here and a switch there, but I don't really need switches here, and I'm just kind of eyeballing, so that, because what I find is that way I can't mess up and lay it up so that I goof the track up. That's why I want to get that switch in there. Not that I need it, just that I want to make sure I don't get this kind of overlapping, because then bad things are going to happen. Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to send the trains off this way, and we're going to have a nice flat piece, and we're going to take it this way, and we're going to run it into a bit of a loop way down here. We're going to take it as far as we can towards this coal field here, and that might be a little too far, and we're going to get it right nudged up against the edge of this, just kind of like that. That's pretty darn close. And then we want to give ourselves, I don't know, we're going to give ourselves one. How many sidings do you think we should go with? Let's go with, I don't know, 4 or 5. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5 sidings. That gives us hordes of space to backlog. We probably don't even need that much. It's probably overkill. I'm thinking maybe we'll go down to 4. Should we go down to 4? Oh, I think we got the space for 5. Alright, so we got these 5 lines. And now what we're going to do, it doesn't really matter which one of the 2 flat ones I go with. We're going to run these back a bit, and we're going to make it so that we can go in a loop here. So it looks goofy because we're not really going to allow the trains to go back out. But it's just to give us an eyeball on how this thing's going to come together ultimately. And these are a little bit too long for what we want, but that's okay. We know that we can easily fit a station in anywhere in any of those, and that's perfect because that's what we need. So actually what we want to do is lay one piece of track on here, and then we're going to just grab a signal, and we want to make sure that we can fit it 5 depth. Same as we can at the other end. We want to be able to fit trains that are 5 in depth. And we got a little bit of extra space on the corner. We're going to call that our buffer. So that's a group of 5. So that's right where these signals need to end. So what it means for us is when we come up to the top here, because it's actually the top that's going to give us the grief, I believe, we need the ability to turn one of these. And if you look, we're kind of running all of these down into the same line, just like that. And that is where our first real siding can be. So we're going to be able to run this in here now, and I believe we have the thing that we need right here. So we come along and we say that is where our first station can be. It's already got the right length. We know the cars fit on there. This is as close as we can and as tight as we can make this if we want 5 sidings. Then all we have to do is every time we add one of these, we just need to keep moving along with this. So if this is our first one and we know that it's going to be, I don't know, whatever it's going to be, and we're going to pull this up because I'm not sure what we're going to do here for fuel. Say this one is, I don't know, sulfuric acid. Well, then what we can do is we can lay on a very similar template that we did on the other side. So we can basically come along and say, there's our sulfuric acid, and all we have to do is reverse the pump jacks, and we've already got this in place. So if we go, okay, well, there's sulfuric acid, and actually let's just kind of goof along here and play devil's advocate a bit. We can go, well, if that's sulfuric acid, then I'll see your sulfuric acid and I'll raise you a lubricant. And we don't need any oil in here. What else do we want? Light oil. Well, that's not going to need to come in here. This isn't where we would do light oil. We'll do that somewhere else. But we need plastics. We know we're going to want plastics. Well, plastics is a different template. Where's our template for plastics? Anybody see the great big ugly one? There we go. So there's our thing. It's going to look a little bit different because that's a loader, but a loader and an unloader are very similar. And just we can give ourselves a bit of space between those two. But we say, yeah, you know what? We probably don't need that space. We can probably just do that. And that's looking good. And let's say we're going to actually need a loader because we need to put in some iron ore to take back for our sulfuric acid. So let's just go and quickly double check and see if we've got everything we need. If we come back to our train yard over here, we're looking at things we need. We got heavy oil, which is going to turn into lubricant. We're going to need that. We got one fuel fluid. We're not going to need petroleum gas. We're going to not need sulfur. Oh, we want explosives. Well, we know we want explosives, and we know we want the uranium-238, but they may not come in here. They may belong down in this area down here. I'm thinking we're actually going to build maybe another train yard down here. We'll kind of cut the bus in half and have a couple trains running through. Or, as I said, maybe they come all the way around the backside and come through here. Don't know how we're doing that yet. Haven't really figured that out in my head. We know we want to move these train lines here as well. So for right now, we're going to say this is good. But what we want to do is we want to bulk this zone off. Say, you know what? Don't touch. And there's ways we can do that. We can, you know, we do something like this. Don't touch. Don't touch. And when we drive by there, our robots will go nuts, but at least then maybe we can remember not to do that. Okay, and all we have to do then is make sure that we can connect these lines to here. So this is where it can get goofy sometimes, because if this line isn't exactly straight with one of these, and if it's too narrow, sometimes you have to do a little bit of a wiggle to get it out. So, oh man, that just sounded wrong. We need, I'm just going to look for the right pieces here. We're going to want something like that. And this is the ones I usually try to run actually placing in, because they're the ones that'll goof you up. This one here is going to be a problem because you can't get a line just to bump over just a hair like this. It's going to go that far and then it's going to want to weave back. So what you can do is this. As long as we know we can connect this line, and that is a question, not an answer. We know we can connect that line. We should, in theory, be able to zig this line back into that one like that. And then what happens sometimes is you get something goofy like that going on. You see how that won't connect, and it doesn't make any sense at all. You're like, it should connect. It just doesn't make any logical sense. You know, well, it's part of how the thing works. And it just is telling you, take this line out a bit further. And so you end up with this real kind of ugly mess. But at least then you know it's going to work. So you see how those two lines are almost crossing over? I don't think you can do that in a real yard. Probably not. But hey, it's going to work here, and we're okay with that. So something like this we can just ship right into the back of this one. And then this one over here. Once you get to the outsides, it's the ones that are really tight and close to the middle that cause you all the grief. And once you get past those, you're kind of golden because they're really easy to do. So we can actually peel off some of this track here now and just kind of clean this up. We just kind of, we know this is the end. We can kind of just clean all this up. Just kind of cut and paste it all. Oops. I'm just going to do a little tidying up here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just make sure that it all falls together here. And basically we can come back now with our cleanup and just go, okay, now this is what it's really going to look like. It's going to look like this, this, and this. Whoops, not that. It's going to look like that, that, and that for that line. Those lines are all going to be perfect fits. Just come back up, and you can do it either way. And then basically, that's why I kind of do it this way, because it's easier. If you do it this way, you just go 1, 2, because it was 1, 2 at the other, and you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you just come back down to this one, you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And you just do the same thing down at the end here. Like I said, it looks like a dog's breakfast, but at the end, we'll actually have a train yard that actually will fall right together for us. And let's grab that one. Not that one. Oh, that one. And you just started that in and pull it all the way back. And there you go. If we get robots before we finish this off, then we can just walk up here and they can lay out the rest of the track for us. Because That is now complete other than signals. So it's just signals we have to worry about right now, but basically we've got the rest of it all penciled in, and we know exactly where we're bringing our materials to. So when we start to do our expansion down here, we know that we're going to be bringing in these materials already. We don't have to worry about where they're coming from. It'll all be part of how we build our red circuits and everything else. And that, funny enough, is what we're going to start working on next time. We're going to start working towards our, I believe we want blue science packs. And that is what's going to take us our red, our engines, and our drills. So we've already got the engines laid out. We just need to get the red circuits. And that's what this has been all about. Believe it or not, we've been setting ourselves all up to get the red circuits in. So all we have to do now is go back, finish up the plastic, get that kind of done, and then we'll be ready to do all this. So I really thank you for joining me. I know this one's been a bit longer, but we've been laying out quite the blueprint here. And you can't really see it on the track, but you can imagine, when we look at it, we can see that we've got this whole thing. We know exactly how this is going to work. We'll have to put some signals, like I said, in there. And we'll come back here and we'll get the plastic all wired up and finished to go. So what I'll probably do is when I'm offline, I'll probably throw the plastic together. I'll probably just finish putting in some of this track, make sure that it's not just a blueprint and it's all tracked out for us. This is all built. And then we'll be able to come in here next time, get a big, huge swath of reds in here and start piping everything together, and we'll start seeing some real progress next time. So thank you for joining me. I'm Nerd Dad, and I'm out.